Let's move on to the next question from Rob. He says 529 versus index fund for newborn. Tax advantage aside, at least I would be in control of the index in my name in case my kid wants a new Porsche at age 18 or something like that. How should he be thinking about this?
Okay, so it depends on what the goal for the money is. If you think that these funds might actually be used for the first car, I would not recommend a Porsche for your kid as his first car.
Well, I think he's worried about the kid getting 18 to majority age and then be like, woo, look at that money. And then going and, buying a Porsche with it.
The beautiful thing about 529 assets is they are, in fact, also your money, right? So when you open up a 529, you open it up as the owner of the account and you get to choose who the beneficiary of that account is. So you can be the owner, your child is the beneficiary. It's not like an Utmo where at 18, Junior can just come say, hey, Dad, give me that money. That's not the way that 529 accounts work. So it's back to you got to figure out what the purpose of these funds are. If it might be for a down payment on a home, or it might be for a wedding, or it might be for a first automobile purchase, I think there's nothing wrong with opening up some sort of brokerage account. You can do it in your name. It'll be subject to your taxability. Or you could open up like an UTMA account, and that way, kitty tax rules and all that stuff will apply. But if you think there's a chance that your kid's going to go to school and you think that there's a chance that 529 assets might be utilized either for higher education in college or maybe even private school K through 12, I don't think it's crazy to use a 529 plan because it does allow an opportunity for you to save on taxes. Now, this is what I thought was great. He said 529 or index fund. You know what I love about 529 plans?
You can
invest in index funds inside of the 529 plan. So I don't think it has to be an either or. I think it's dependent on what the kid ultimately wants to do.
Yeah, and a lot of the plans, now realize everybody needs to go look and see what tax incentives your state 529 offers, because the tax benefits are probably so big that you're going to need to stay within your plan. And realize a lot of states have multiple plans. So make sure you're using the most effective low-cost plan that does have index funds inside of it. But for years, a lot of people were looking at the Utah plan because that was one that was a Vanguard plan. It had all index funds and it had age-based portfolios. So it was giving you essentially an index target retirement for your child and savings. But I want to come back to the original question that Rob submitted, is that 529s are just too effective at funding education. So, and it doesn't have to just be traditional college. 529s work for trade schools. 529s work K through 12. 529s work for buying personal computers and other things that are supportive of your child's education. Just pay attention to how powerful these things can be. And I think by the time you get to step 8 of the financial order of operations, this is the tool that you probably will want to look at. Now, you were talking about worried about kids getting access. That's not really something I see a problem with 529s. It's more of the custodial accounts that Bo was alluding to, is because they do, for when people turn majority age, the money turns into their money. But if you want to know what wealthy people do with that, is that it's not uncommon that if you have a custodial account that you've funded and it has, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in it by the time the kid's 18, more than likely you're already a financial mutant. So you have much bigger money behind. So you have to, two things. First, give them lifetime learning opportunities with skin in the game moments. As soon as your kid gets their first job or anything with earned income that they're going to be paid, talk to them about savings, talk to them about giving, talk to them about investing, and actually prime the pump. Give them a dollar for dollar match if they do this, so that hopefully your kid looks at this as a tool, not as a give me, what can I go buy that Porsche? Because you've got to first educate your children. The second thing, beyond education, is scare the heebie-jeebies out of them and say, look, if you go waste this money on the Porsche when you're 19 years old or 20 years old, all this other stuff sitting behind the financial mutant is never, ever, ever, because it's gone. But that sounds so crass. And
do you want the milk or do you want the cow?
Well,
that's not crass. That's
I've shared this
sense.
stat. We know 80% of millionaires first generation, but that's only available and possible because 70% of the wealth disappears by the children. 90% of the wealth disappears by the grandchildren. So I've had the personal conversation with my daughter, that, because she's 19 years old right now, and I'm so proud of her for having the 5-figure Roth, IRA that she set up by when she was babysitting, as well as when she started working at Chick-fil-A. She's funded. But I told her, she very much, we've had conversations with, I want you to be in the 30%, not the 70 that squanders the wealth I've built, but I want you to be in the 30% where you actually treat this with reasonableness and actually can have success and not have to start at zero. Because look, sometimes I know coming from humble beginnings, poverty beginnings is not ideal, but it can be a desired difficulty if it gives you the hunger to want to strive to be successful. If you are a financial mutant, you need to look at your children and be like, how do I create some type of scarcity in their life so that they can recreate having that hunger for life to build memories, to build responsible savings and investment strategies? Because that's where a lot of wealthy people are failing, is that they want to give, because they don't want their kids to struggle with the things that they struggle with. They never create scarcity in their children's lives. And then they're surprised when their kids get to adulthood, and then they're like, what? Why did the music stop? Why don't I get to go and have the luxury car? Why can't my first house be a luxury house? Don't wait until they get out into adulthood to let them see that, oh my goodness, I have to build this and then fail. Start creating scarcity from a young young age, so that they have the mindset to know, hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to just get it because my parents are wealthy. They're going to do it because they're healthy. That's why I did have my wife. Why do I keep saying wife? I'll blame it on I just got back from Africa and have not had enough sleep. My daughter, I made her pay half of her first car. So that meant that she bought a 12-year-old jalopy. That's what it was. It was a character builder. It didn't have all the latest and greatest safety, which was scary as a parent who could buy whatever nicest car with the latest and greatest. But I think it was very valuable for her to learn to have that enjoyment of buying a car, what that means for life. Pay attention to that, because I know we've gone long on the answer here, but I think that's something that I pick on wealthy people about, is you give too much to your kids too early, and it ends up spoiling the fruit of the future.